it's Elyse here at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So, for this week, we are taking a look at some titles that are some of my favorites of 2023. So I will start by saying this. One of the things I'm going to self-brag here for a hot second. One of the things I appreciate about when I was looking back at the books I've read this year is the fact that I actually read quite a bit out of my comfort zone this year, which can be incredibly difficult to do. And it doesn't always pay off. And I feel like that's sometimes my hang up. But in some cases, it did. Because I have 6 books I'm going to share with you. And some of them are books that I may not normally pick up and read. But I'm so glad I did. And I cannot wait to share them with you. So, let's get started. 6 of my favorite books of 2023. Let's go. First one. Gorgeous cover right off the bat, right? This is The Labors of Hercule Beale, okay? So, 12-year-old Hercules is living in Massachusetts with his older brother Achilles after the loss of his parents in a car accident just about a year and a half before our story takes place, okay? Now, Achilles is quite older. He was traveling the world for National Geographic when this happened. So for him, his life has changed as well, that now he has given up his dreams to go take over the family business, plus raise his younger brother, which he wasn't necessarily planning on doing, okay? Starting a new school, Hercules, he's entering 6th grade, and on the first day when he goes, he meets his new teacher, okay? His teacher is Lieutenant Colonel Huffer, who recently retired from the Marine Corps, okay? Now, Lieutenant Colonel Huffer, he takes a look at, Hercules. He thinks about Hercules, and then he gives Hercules a year-long assignment. The Lieutenant Colonel wants Hercules to look at the 12 labors that the Greek mythology version of Hercules had to do, okay? That's the myth, the 12 labors of Hercules. And not only does he want him to explore these 12 labors that happened, but then he also wants current day Hercules of our story here to write a 150-word essay about each one, but not only about what the labor was, but how it also connects to Hercules' real-life situations. At first, he is completely overwhelmed and very skeptical of this project, but as he starts to work through, he realizes that maybe he does have more in common with the myth hero Hercules than he ever could have thought. Now, this moving journey, this story will take you along with Hercules as he comes to terms with himself, his new situation, his grief that he has not really begun to process yet. It's an incredible, realistic read. Incredible storytelling by Gary D. Schmidt, who is a master author at writing incredible middle grade stories. No exception, this is The Labors of Hercules Beale. Oh, another one. This one, you might need to have some tissues ready. I'm forewarning you right now, okay? Reha is an Indian, let me start with the title here. Red, White, and Whole, okay? Reha is an Indian American middle schooler. She's growing up in the 1980s, so it's a little historical for some people, okay? And she finds herself trying to fit into 2 different worlds, okay? There's the one that she is in Monday through Friday at school with her friends, and then there's another world on the weekends where she's with her family and her Indian best friend. Now, Rhea is frustrated by how her parents treat her, and she wants to be, quote, more white. Everything changes, though, when her mother is admitted to the hospital one evening and it's discovered that she has leukemia. And Rhea has no idea how to deal with all of this, especially as her mother continues to get worse. But then she starts to find strength and support from both groups of people and both of these worlds she finds herself straddling in. And she realizes that maybe she can be both American and Indian. This amazing novel in verse is one that's filled with family, friendship, understanding, coming of age. It will have you crying, and it's perfect for all readers, all readers, not just ones in the middle grade group, okay? It's extremely impactful. As an adult reader reading this, yeah. Again, novel in verse means it's written like poetry style. But even if you don't like poetry, like me, I'm not a poetry person, you will still love a novel in verse. I'll promise you. An incredible read, red, white, and whole. In the Tunnel. So, it's October 1952, and 16-year-old Mang Yi has joined the South Korean army in order to find his father, who has been taken by the secret police 2 years earlier and is believed to be in North Korea, which is a whole separate country. Okay, so you have the Korean Peninsula, and it's been separated into two countries, North and South. Okay. When he finds himself trapped in a tunnel at the North-South Korean border, though, due to an explosion, we go back in time with him as he remembers his life from 1945 to the present in 1952. His joy when the Japanese imperialist rule was over and life had endless possibilities, but that was quickly changed with the Americans and Soviets rushing to carve up the peninsula, and soon he and his family find themselves on the communist side. This eye-opening historical read about a time in our history which is rarely talked about, and especially from this perspective, is one that is completely eye-opening and heart-wrenching. As someone whose grandfather fought in the Korean War, a lot of times it is not even discussed or talked about, and that's one thing I truly appreciated about this book, is it shed light on a time in our history that is mostly forgotten, which is really incredibly disappointing. This is a must read, even if you're not a historical fiction reader. I know sometimes historical fiction can be hard. This one isn't. This is In the Tunnel. Okay, Wrecker, okay, a new Carl Hyacin, okay. In this one, we meet 15-year-old Valdez Jones VIII, who is also known as Wrecker, and he loves to spend his days boating and fishing near his home in Key West, Florida. It is one day when he's out on his boat that he comes across another boat, which has been run aground on a sandbar, and he literally has no idea how anyone could possibly do that, and he severely questions, what is the ability and capability of the people driving this boat? They're on board. They ask Wrecker to help pull, basically, tow their boat with his boat, off the sandbar. But he's not willing to do that because he's afraid that they might actually, wreck his boat as well. But even more confusing than that, they say it's okay. They throw a wad of cash at him. They just take off. They leave the boat there on the sandbar. They just leave with instructions telling him, take the cash, but if anyone asks, they were, quote, they were never there type deal, okay? But as weird as that was, then he starts seeing them everywhere, and things start to feel and get a little sketchy. Especially one night when he was at his second job cleaning tombstones at the cemetery, and one of the men from the boat approaches him and asks him to do something for him. That there's a brand new crypt that has been built, and he wants Wrecker to keep his eye on it and to let him know if anything happens there. Soon, Wrecker finds himself unknowingly, unwillingly at the center of an illegal activity ring, and he has no idea how he's going to get out of the situation he finds himself in. This action-packed mystery is filled with vivid descriptions and non-stop story that will leave you wondering, what is Wrecker going to do? Yeah. It was one of those where it's like, what would you do if you found yourself in his situation without ever really saying a definitive yes that you are willing to do this? This is Wrecker. Finally Seen by Kelly Yang. And who doesn't love a Kelly Yang story, okay? I will tell you, this is the first in a series. Book 2 is getting ready to come out, okay? And finally Seen, we meet Lena, and Lena is super excited to finally be reunited with her parents. It's been 5 years since they left both her and her younger sister with their grandmother in Beijing to immigrate and start a new life in America, okay? So fast forward 5 years, Lena is now 10. Lena's on her way to the United States because A, her parents think they're ready for them, but B, her grandmother finds herself in a nursing home and unable to care for Lena and her sister, which leaves Lena with some incredible guilt, okay, that she feels really bad leaving her grandmother behind. When she arrives to the United States, though, what she imagined and what she was told by her parents through their letters is not exactly what her new reality is. And even worse, she feels like she is a complete stranger to her parents, who are just struggling to keep a roof over their heads, and it is incredibly stressful in their household, okay? Now, even worse, Lena starts going to school where she doesn't speak English. She is constantly bullied, and she feels like even there she doesn't belong. That she doesn't feel like she belongs at school. She feels like she doesn't belong at home. She doesn't know what she's supposed to do. It is when she's helped by some of her teachers, she makes a new friend and discovers her love of reading, that words start to change her life. You know, like things start to go on the upswing for the better for Lena, especially when she learns it's okay to express herself through words and pictures. This realistic read is one that will open your eyes and your hearts, and hopefully you're understanding that we never really know what anyone is truly experiencing and what their life stories are. An incredible read again by Kelly Yang. This is Finally Seen. And our last one is Dust. Okay. Now, 12-year-old Evelyn lives in Clear Canyon City, Arizona. Her family moved there after she had an asthma attack, which nearly killed her. But this new environment is perfect for her health. Okay, and she's just like, for her asthma, you know, is under control. She has some food allergies, but that's life. She's just living life. Evelyn also, though, thinks she has a secret ability, and one that she hasn't told anyone, not even her best friends. Evelyn thinks she's what's called an empath, that she's able to read emotions through touch, okay? But she's not sure if this is like 100% true, so that's why she's hesitated to tell anyone about this yet. It's when new student Adam arrives, though, that things start to change for Evelyn. First, there's an uptick in dust storms, okay? And it starts to impact her asthma. She starts to get a couple more asthma attacks than what she normally does. And Evelyn thinks maybe Adam has something to do with this, as weird as that might sound, but that's the only correlation she can make. So she decides that she's going to become friends with Adam. Maybe that will help. So becoming fast friends, bonding over their mutual interests, she starts to feel that Adam is keeping a dark secret. And as she stands up for him at bullies at school, and you know, she starts to like maybe get a little to know him a little bit better and feels his anger and his fear. She feels the need to help him as she discovers the horrible truth of his family life. Now, this powerful read is not necessarily the easiest read. I will tell you that right now, especially due to some of the content and the plot lines that happen. Some of the things that are discussed are child abuse, child sexual abuse, consent, topics along those lines. But it is handled carefully and impactfully and tastefully. But again, be forewarned, it's not necessarily the easiest to read, but incredibly impactful and well done. This is Dust. So, these are some of my favorites of 2023. So I encourage you to come on down, check these out, or we can help you maybe find a book you're looking for that might be one of your favorite reads of 2023. So come on down, they'll help you out. If not, you can always fall back on some of mine. I hope you have an incredible week, and I hope you tune back next time for a whole new middle grade book spotlight.